Hi, welcome to Oscar's Green Card. Today we're going to keep talking about the March 2026 Visa Bulletin because it came with a lot of news and it is good to dive a little bit deeper into what it means for you. Let's start. Hi, my name is Oscar. As you know, I'm a scientist and not a lawyer. And in this channel, we talk about green cards like EB2NAW or EB1A, in which you can be a self-petitioner and you can be a do-it-yourself petitioner, meaning that you don't need to hire a lawyer, saving thousands of dollars, and you can also do it without a company sponsoring you. There's a lot of people out there interested on this, and we have our YouTube channel here, our website, oscarsgreencard.com, and our courses, our specialized courses that teach you step-by-step how to craft your petition as a do-it-yourself petitioner. But today, we're going to keep talking about the Visa Bulletin. Yesterday, we learned about it. There were a lot of news, and March comes with a lot of movement across the board in many categories. And that includes, of course, EB2, which is one of the most popular ones within our audience. EB2 Table A moves forward more than half a month, which is a lot. And EB2 Table B, or dates for filing, shows a C current for the first time since 2022. And to take a look at the Visa Bulletin in more detail, we have the video that you can watch, and I'll leave the link over here. It's been watched more than 15,000 times in less than 24 hours, so thank you for that support and interest. And of course, all of this is related with the travel bans and the suspensions that the US government has been issuing in the last months. And that's why we have this other video where we discuss in detail and we do a projection using math, using real numbers, of how many visa numbers are being freed up because of these travel bans that are imposed by Trump and company. So go there to watch that video if you are interested in diving a little bit deeper into that. But today we're going to answer a lot or the most common frequently asked questions that I got yesterday in the video. And we're going to provide also some caution, because I know everyone is really, really happy. And I'm also happy for all of you. But I also need to bring you the other side, the risk side. The things can look differently in a couple of months from now. Okay, so we need to celebrate today, but we also need to be very realistic with what the situation could be moving forward, and also what are the risks of taking certain steps with the March Visa Bulletin, because it does open a lot of possibilities for a lot of people, but a lot of people are going to make mistakes as well. So I want to prevent that, and I want to give you the best information possible. As usual, as you know, this is not legal advice, and the only person that can actually give you individualized advice is a US immigration lawyer, so consult with one if you need that kind of analysis. So why did we see those movements yesterday? Well, my guess, and also partially because USCIS said so yesterday, these two agencies, USCIS and State Department, in my opinion, are right now completely lost. They don't know how to manage this visa number situation. Remember that the green card system, and we're going to recap on that in a second, is a quota-based system. They have a certain number of visas that they can give out each year, and the ones they don't use, they are generally lost by the end of September. So they need to manage that, and usually they more or less know, what is the typical flow of demand, and they can manage based on historical trends. But right now, with these travel bans and these suspensions, they are affecting a total of more than 90 countries. So that's a lot of visa numbers that are affected. Visas that cannot be issued at certain consulates abroad, more than 90 countries affected again. And that's a lot of people affected. So my take is that these two agencies, they don't really know how to manage this. They don't want to lose those visa numbers, and that's good news, actually. That's kudos to them, and you know that I criticize the Trump government anytime I think is justified to do so, but they are trying not to lose those visa numbers. So they are basically opening the gates for a lot of people to apply for adjustment of status to counter those visa numbers that they are not issuing because of those travel bans and suspensions. So by opening the gates and saying, okay, Table B can be used, and Table B is current for EB2, for example, now a lot of people, really a lot of people in March will be able to file, and they will file an adjustment of status. Even some people that don't have an I-140 approved, as I'm going to discuss in a second. This is good, but this is also what I call here a double sword, because this can open a short-term problem. If a lot of people apply, which is what I think it will happen, these two agencies will have enough visa numbers to give. That is good. They will be able to manage, and hopefully they will not waste a lot of visa numbers, if any, at the end of the fiscal year. But they will have too many, and a lot of people will remain there in that limbo, and they will have to close the gates either in April Visa Bulletin or in the following one. They'll have to maybe say, okay, now table B cannot be used for adjustment of status, look at table A, or even they may have to retrogress the dates. And actually, if you take a look at what the Visa Bulletin said, yes, it is true, going back to the tables, table B is current for the first time in 2022 for EB2. So now both EB1 and EB2 in table B, they are both current. However, at the end of the Visa Bulletin, we got this note explaining, this is probably because of all these proclamations, all these suspensions in visa issuance, but note, and this is the risk that I wanted to talk about, note that as additional immigrant visa demand materializes or administration actions are amended, so let's say that Trump changes his mind and reduces the number of countries affected or eliminates one of these lists, retrogression may be necessary later in the fiscal year to keep issuances within annual limits. Now they will have a huge pool of candidates to give those visa numbers to, probably through adjustment of status mostly. But, if there are a lot, not everyone will finish the process, that second step of the process. And they may even need to retrogress the dates to say, look, we're closed now. We're closing shop until next year, which starts in October 1st. Okay, so you should know about these things. You should know that not everything is fantastic. Right now it is, and we should celebrate it, but the situation can quickly change when the visa numbers are not there. Remember that we are governed by these rules. We have 140,000 employment-based green cards every year from October 1st to September 30th, and the unused family green cards can go to employment the following year. In other words, if the government doesn't use all the family green cards this year, next year we will get more employment-based green cards. That is good for employment. But of course, family-based applicants, they don't want to see that. Categories, there's also a quota for each category, but they can move according to these arrows. And then we have the per country limits, 7% of the total family plus employment, and that cannot really be violated in any way. Okay, so those are the three main rules that govern all these things. But here we are talking especially about this 140,000. If now they open the gates for this adjustment of status to happen, and so many people can actually fulfill the requirements, then at some point they will project that they will hit the 140,000 number and they will have to close the gates. And what does that mean? Moving to table A, number one, and possibly retrogressing the dates if they need to do so. I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm saying it is a possibility. So now let's take a look at a few comments here from our audience that I thought they are interested, and I grouped them because of their similarity. And here Mauricio asks, can it be the case that your date becomes current but still waiting on I-140 petition approval? And another person says, I don't have any update for my I-140, which was filed in June 2024. Can I apply for adjustment of status, or I have to get the approval first? And another one says, now that table B is being used for March, can concurrent filing both I-140 and I-485 be done? And the answer is yes, concurrent filings during March, and remember, all of this applies on March 1st, not before. But concurrent filing in EB2, if you are from rest of world, can be theoretically done. You could file I-140 and I-485. There's no rule that says that you must have an I-140 approved. So either if you have an I-140 pending, or you haven't filed it, but you are almost there and you are going to file it during March, you can actually file for adjustment of status together. However, if you do that, if you have the I-140 pending, not approved, you should know about the risks. And the risk is, number one, financial. You're going to pay all the money for an adjustment of status, possibly for you and your family. Remember, adjustment of status is paid per person. And now the fees, they are not cheap. I think adjustment of status, I-485, we're talking about $1,440 plus the temporary benefits. If you want an EAD card or a travel document you pay extra, and that is per person in the family. So that's a big investment. Now, if your I-140 is eventually denied, you will lose that money. Okay, you will lose all the money. So that's number one, it's a financial risk. But number two, if the I-140 is not approved and you go with your adjustment of status and you actually use the adjustment of status, meaning you start using your EAD card or you travel with your travel document associated with the adjustment of status, and your I-140 is eventually denied, now suddenly you are unprotected because the underlying status that pending I-140 was denied, so your temporary benefits will decay as well. So if you are relying on that solely and not on another visa that you have, if you are using those temporary benefits, suddenly you will be unprotected, and you should know about that. And if you have questions, you should ask a lawyer. Now, a similar situation is if you have an approved I-140. Now, if you have an approved I-140, March is really a window of opportunity for you because you can file your adjustment of status for you and your family. You can apply for temporary benefits like the EAD card or travel document, and you already have your I-140 approved. So you are pretty safe there. You just have to wait until they process your I-485 and your temporary benefits, but it's a matter of time. So financially, much lower risk because it's unlikely that you're going to get denied unless you lied or something like that, or you are ineligible because of your past visa life. But if all is good with your profile and you do things correctly, very little risk, and I urge you to actually go for that in general, okay? I-140 approved, window of opportunity in March for those of you who can file an adjustment of status. And actually, now is the time that I will do a little bit of an ad, because if you are in that situation, I-140 approved, I want you to consider to either take a look at our courses. If you're a member, you already have our adjustment of status information there with video lectures that walk you step by step. If you are not a member and you don't want to pay all that money, it's not that expensive, but if you don't want to enroll in the course just for the adjustment of status, we do have standalone adjustment of status packages for each of the category. Of course, they don't come with videos. You cannot ask questions like in the course, but at least you get an ebook explaining what adjustment of status is, and then you get a sample petition so you can mimic it. If you're a course member and your course membership expires, it's a good moment to go back and renew that membership because you get access to that adjustment of status material. And now we're going to take a quick break so Marina tells us something about our courses.
This is our website, oscarsgreencard.com. You can find our courses for do-it-yourself petitioners. They are designed to guide you step by step through the whole petition process, from understanding the requirements of each category to crafting strong recommendation letters. And we also share a lot of tips so you can write the best possible cover letter. In every lesson, you can submit your written questions for Oscar to answer, so you're not left with any doubts. By the way, in the EB2NIW course, we meet once a month, so you can ask your questions face to face and we can learn from each other. So what are you waiting for? Join us. We learn together.
Well, thank you, Marina. Let's continue with the video. Let's take a look at other questions that people have. Someone say here, well, if I'm not wrong, USCIS prioritized those cases with visa availability because of the Visa Bulletin. Does it mean that USCIS will make decisions faster? And another one says, hey, Oscar, thank you for all the work. It is excellent. I have one question. What do you know about the I-140 processing time? On the USCIS website, it says 22.5 months, but the consular processing is now 16 months. So questions about processing. People are confused. Why, if the Visa Bulletin has moved so much and actually Table B is current, why am I still waiting for my I-140? Well, because those two things are completely separate. We have the Visa Bulletin wait times and we have the USCIS administrative processing times, and they are independent. If you look at EB1, EB1 is current for most countries all the time. It doesn't mean that if you file an I-140 without premium processing in EB1, you will get the answer immediately. Actually, it takes a long time without premium processing. So they have nothing to do. In fact, my prediction is that processing times at USCIS will get slower from now on, because a lot of people are going to file their adjustment of status, A lot of people will upgrade their I-140 to premium processing, which is a risk also because, yes, you will get the answer fast, but I think USCIS is going to be overwhelmed with a number of cases that will be upgraded to premium processing during March, because people will have this rush to get their case completed so they can finalize their process during March, this window of opportunity. So if anything, my prediction, and remember I don't do predictions, but my gut feeling is that we are going to see USCIS times getting slower in the coming months because of all of this, not faster, okay? Hi, Oscar. If the movement we are seeing is because of the travel ban, even though it's only been a few months, do you think we might see more progress in the upcoming bulletins if the pause continues? And here my gut feeling is no, I don't think we're going to see a lot of many more good news moving forward, because this was already a big step change in the good direction. We got good news yesterday, very good news. I don't think that's going to be sustained, because at the end of the day, I did the math. You can go back to that video that I referenced earlier. And those visa numbers that are being unused because of the travel bans, they are not that significant to warrant these huge changes every month. It may happen now. They may need to correct it later. Actually, they will need to come back and retrogress if needed. I don't think we're going to see continuing movements forward. Okay, you shouldn't count on that. That's my gut feeling. I hope I'm wrong, like I always say when I give a not so good news, okay? I am finally current in both tables after a long wait, but I am from Pakistan, one of the 75 countries. This is so extremely frustrating. Yeah, that's the other side of this good news. This good news come precisely because of this, because you guys, this comment here and this one that also says I am from 75 countries that was paused. We are getting these movements because you guys cannot proceed with your process. So people should be aware of that. Good news for someone is because of the bad news for everyone else. And my position is clear. I'm against the travel bans. I'm against the suspension. I'm happy for the people that will see some acceleration in the process right now, but I keep my mind on what is fair, and the suspension and the travel bans are not fair in my opinion, and they should be lifted as soon as possible. And yes, that will cause the Visa Bulletin to go back to normal and to be slow again. That's what's fair in my opinion. Okay, so I should also have that thought with this group of people here. And by the way, answering this question, if you are from the 75 countries suspended, will it be affected by the pause? If you are abroad, yes. That 75 country suspension affects visa issuance abroad. If you are in the US, it will not affect you. You can still do an adjustment of status. Not if you are from the travel ban. Remember that there are two different types of suspension. So be sure which one you belong to. And in oscarsgreencard.com, you can check out the difference between them. This person asks, my EB2 NIW is pending with a priority date of October 2024. Should I apply for premium processing or just apply for adjustment of status based on pending I-140? And that's a great question that a lot of people have, and I already referred to this. Premium processing has risks because you file an upgrade to your process. First of all, there's going to be a lot of people doing that, so we'll see if USCIS can actually honor the 15 or 45 days, depending on the category, for premium processing. They may be overwhelmed. That happened in the past, and they may not be able to honor all of them. But even if they do, they may be too busy, and actually they may start issuing RFPs at a higher rate than we are seeing now, which is already pretty high. So that may cause that you miss the window of opportunity anyway, because we only have March, and in EB2NAW, premium processing means 45 business days. That's already most likely putting you in April. So it is a risky move, okay? You should know about all those things, all those risks. Now, adjustment of status with a pending I-140 is also a risk, like I described earlier. So you should also be aware of those risks. And that is all from me for today. If you are interested in doing this process, go to oscarsgreencard.com, check out our online resources, and we're here to help. As usual, thank you for being here, for subscribing, for sharing this video, for liking it, and we'll see you in the next video here in Oscar's Green Card. Thank you.